Hi Capricorn, welcome back to Astrology 33 channel. This is your February 2022 tarot reading. Thank you to those of you who liked, viewed, shared, subscribed, and donated to the channel. I appreciate all of that. And for those of you new to the channel, as far as what we have in front of us, it's a Celtic Coral spread as always, and I also pulled some Oracle cards and a Mudra card for you guys. We're actually going to start the reading off by rolling those astrology dice we have in front of us to get an idea of where your focus will be as far as that goes. So let's see what we get. Alright, so we have 3, so that's third house communication, which for you guys is Pisces, and we have Neptune that's been there for quite some time. We also have Jupiter that got there recently, and toward the end of the month we're going to have the Sun in there as well. Alright, we have Scorpio, which is your 11th house of groups, friendships, hopes, and wishes. And we have the South Node. So also basically the South Node will be in Scorpio all through February and pretty much for the next 18 months. So yeah, looks like there's going to be some situation with your groups and friendships, and I could see some Scorpio energy in there too. Alright, so moving on to your main spread. In the main situation position, we have the Hierophant. So this is Taurus energy here. And this usually points to tradition, right? Long-standing beliefs. For some of you, if this is more of around a job situation, could just be a long-standing corporation or company that you've been working for quite some time. But yeah, it looks like that's going to be the focus for you guys this month. Now, in the challenge or obstacle position, we have the King of Cups energy, which is Scorpio energy, which we saw in the dice. And like I said, the South Node will be there as well. So what I'm getting from this really is that a lot of you might be rebelling from traditional beliefs that even you might have held for quite some time. So I feel like that's what's going on there. You might feel all of a sudden this nudge to adopt different belief systems. So, you know, a super generic example, could that be religious? Yes, but I feel like this is just even things that you might have been raised with, right? Or even if there's long-standing policies within your workplace that you've always adhered to, now you might just feel like you want to go a different way with them. And on top of that, you might feel like you're alone on an island with these ideas too, right? So you might feel like the people in your environment might not be on the same page with you around these new beliefs that you have. All right, in the foundation position, we have the Moon and the Five of Cups. So yeah, again, I'm kind of getting that same energy, which is to say I feel like these new beliefs seem to have been coming up to the surface for you guys, and I feel like you look around in the group that you're currently associating with, so like I said, whether that's in your work environment, just your friendships, family, you name it, you might feel like there aren't others who share those beliefs, so that could be causing a bit of disappointment for you at this time. And in addition to that, I would say just definitely pay attention to the lunar cycles this month because they could have extra relevance for you guys. There's going to be a new moon in Aquarius right at the beginning of February, and then a full moon in Leo toward the end of Aquarius season. So be on the lookout for those because they could bring some of that energy back up to the surface. All right, in the past position, we have the Two of Swords. So I feel like for a lot of you, this shows at the very least that you might have thought these things over, right? Like the traditional beliefs that you've held to a certain point versus the newer beliefs that you're starting to feel come to the surface for you now. For some of you, this could be around career as well. So like I said, maybe you've been doing something a certain way within your career, and now you want to totally switch it up. So it looks like you've definitely been mulling over that idea in the past. All right, in the present position, we have the Empress. So Venus energy here, usually I view this as more of the Taurus side than the Libra side, but could be either one. But yeah, what I'm seeing with this too is I feel like this is you. So for example, let's say your beliefs were that you always had to constantly be working, right? Just a super generic example. Now with the Empress energy showing up here, could just be saying that you're shifting away from that, from moving more toward a much more receptive energy as opposed to always being on the go, always being the one initiating, always the one taking action on the situation. Now I feel like you might just be more about flowing, letting things come to you and being in a more relaxed state before deciding to take something on. So I feel like there could be a bit of an energy shift for you guys in that regard. And of course, with the Venus energy there, could just be saying that during the Venus retrograde, which we're still under at the time recording this, by the way, but yeah, could just be saying having the Venus retrograde in your sign could have cause that shift for you guys as far as how you relate to money and how you go about getting it as well. So that's what I see with that. All right. In the near future position, we have the Queen of Pentacles, which is actually a core card for your sign. We have the Page of Wands and the Ten of Pentacles. So it's interesting to see. This is a pretty stable energy here, of course, Capricorn energy, and then this Virgo energy as well. And in the middle of that, we see the Page of Wands. So yeah, I'm getting a bit of a polarity there too, right? Where it's like, I feel like you're looking at the stability, right? So I feel like most of you are in a pretty stable environment, probably have had your fair share of successes, but you might just feel like there's something calling you to expand, right? To go elsewhere. For some of you, might even be considering moving overseas, for example. That's one way I can see this playing out. But I feel like there is that consideration on your part, right? Like, okay, I've built a pretty sturdy, stable foundation here. Do I want to leave that behind and explore new things, or should I just be content with where I'm at, right? So I feel like that's the thought process you guys might be going through right now. And if it's not that, it could also be saying that you might be considering expanding your horizons. So again, like I said, maybe whatever ideas you may have, you might not find the support for them in your immediate environment. So you're considering, well, if I broaden my horizons, maybe even places overseas if need be, or just putting something on the internet, right? Maybe I'll have a more receptive audience there. So that could be the thought process you guys have. All right. In the position of your influence in the situation, we have the Sun. So yeah, it looks like you guys are definitely just feeling re-energized, youthful, playful, right? Like you're just reinvigorated in some way and possibly wanting to take a different approach to things than what you have been doing. And it might throw some people for a loop. Like I said, you might feel like you're the only one in your immediate environment that feels this energy, but definitely looks like it's pretty genuine for you, and it's just going to keep nagging at you to actually take action. All right, in the environment position, we have the Emperor. So yeah, to me, I feel like this is the energy that you probably feel from the group around you, right? So, like I said, where there's this exploratory nature you guys seem to have right now, people in your environment might seem to throw cold water on that idea, right? They might want to just stick with the tried and true, like, no, we're not going to go explore, expand, or anything, right? They want to keep things as is. So, for example, a super generic example, let's say if this is a romantic relationship you have, right? You might want to go on these big vacations all of a sudden, and your partner might be like, no, let's just stay home. I don't feel like going, right? So it could just be a disconnect like that. To where I don't necessarily feel like you would want to leave the relationship, but there's just a bit of a clash there where you're like, okay, well, I'm on a totally different page than they are right now, right? And that could just cause a bit of a rift there. But yeah, this could also represent family as well, right? So, like I said, if you just have all of a sudden your beliefs are changing compared to what you might have grown up around, there could be some conflict there, but that's what I see with that. All right, in the hopes or fears position, we have the Five of Swords and the Queen of Cups. So yeah, for those of you, since I mentioned that relationship scenario recently, for those of you, if this is around a relationship, you might actually have a fear that, okay, if I tell them this is what I want to do, right, you might see them in that Emperor energy and say, okay, well, if I tell them what I want to do, they're probably going to go against it, so you just end up bottling it up and keeping it to yourself to an extent. Now, if I was you, I would say that this could even point to maybe you might have had this realization around the Cancer full moon that basically is happening around the time I'm recording this. So some of you could have been a realization. Maybe you put it out there, right? And maybe you start to express this, and you might have felt like it was going to cause some conflict. So that's what I see with that. Timeline-wise, this could also point to toward the very end of January when Aquarius season first starts. All right, and in the outcome position, we have the Five of Pentacles. So it actually came out sideways, so I could read that a couple different ways, right? For some of you, it could just be manifesting in more of the upright energy, and for others, more in the reverse. But more than anything, I feel like this is saying that there might not be a definitive move made at this time. So I feel like things might be a bit in limbo, right? Where, like I said, if you feel like people in your environment won't go along with your idea, you might start to reconsider it a little bit. But I feel like it's just going to keep pulling at you to actually take action toward it. But I feel like you there is a part of you though that still is like, okay, well, I don't necessarily want to rock the boat too much, so it could just be one of those things where you and whoever you're dealing with kind of leave things at an agree to disagree type energy, but I have a feeling it will come back up for conversation a little bit later on. All right, and bottom of the deck we have the Strength card. So yeah, to me that line just represents that fire in you guys, where like I said, it seems like you just want to do some exploring, go off the beaten path from what you're accustomed to, but part of you is trying to hold yourselves back from doing so as well. And seeing this here again makes me think of that Leo full moon energy that we're going to have. I feel like that's going to bring this stuff back up to the surface for you guys too, so be on the lookout for that. All right, moving on to your Four Agreements card, we have Don't Take Anything Personally, and it says Release Self-Judgment. So, let's see what it has to say. Okay, it says, even the opinions you have about yourself are not necessarily true. Therefore, you don't need to take whatever you hear in your mind personally. So, interesting message there. I didn't necessarily get an energy of you guys having a self-critical thing, but maybe for some of you do, right? Again, because if you're feeling like you're the only one, like I said, the term that I got when looking at this card was alone on an island, right? Because it looks like he kind of has that throne there, kind of sitting in the middle of the water. So that could be what it's pointing to for some of you, right? Where if you feel like, okay, well, I'm the only one who feels like this. What's up with that, right? And then you might kind of turn that toward yourselves and start to, criticize yourselves. Like maybe I'm the one who has it wrong, right? I feel like that could be pointing to that, saying that you don't necessarily have to think of it that way. So hopefully that resonates with you. All right. Next we have from the Wisdom of the Oracle deck, Here and Now. There's the artwork, and the number is 32. Just looking at that, it looks like this could actually give you some good insight on the situation, so hopefully it resonates. Under essential meanings, it says being fully present in the moment, living one day at a time. The Oracle's message: everything happens in the now, in the present. Only this moment counts. You have what it takes to handle anything today if you let go of the need to look into the future or reflect on the past. Be present and notice what is going on right now. This very moment has the potential for you to create miracles in your life. So pretty positive message there, especially because, like I said, it feels like you're torn a bit between the old and the new, right? So hopefully that resonates with you. The relationship message says it's easy to yearn for a love affair or friendship you may not have right now, one that is more romantic, more fun, more reliable, more passionate. The good old days are gone and a new day has dawned. Let your heart trust that you have everything you need right now, whether you have the relationship you desire or not. Tomorrow is beyond your reach. Yesterday cannot return. The now is all that is available to you. Stay present and aware that in this moment, as you cherish and approve of your beautiful self, you are a magnet for love. Spirit is madly in love with you right now. Did you know that? Turn to Spirit to feel the joy of love in the here and now. So interesting message there. Yeah, it could just be one of those things too, where you're feeling this big passionate energy right now, and you might feel like your partner wants to stick with the same old routine for the time being. So if that's the case, I feel like that could just be saying it might be a bit temporary. The prosperity message says what you are working on is golden, and your efforts will leave a powerful legacy. Focus not on meeting a goal in the far-off future, but on creating your dream now, releasing your desire for an outcome, and owning that it already exists. It will appear in the material world as if by magic. Claim your prosperity now. The essence is more important than the form. When you are immersed in prosperous thoughts, you automatically tune into a sense of timelessness and unlimited potential. You can act as if, in spite of the temporary outer conditions, you are prosperous at this moment. What you think now becomes a reality. Stay present. So interesting message there, because reading that, it made me think of the Empress energy, and it looks like some of you might already be in, so hopefully that resonated as well. And lastly, we have a Mudra for you guys. So this is your Mudra here. It's the Shukri Mudra, and the keyword for it is attunement. Right, and there's the info on it. If you want to pause it to take a screenshot, but under benefits it says balances the 5 elements, bolsters immunity, rejuvenates the organs and blood, soothes the nerves, evokes a peaceful state of mind. So if that sounds like a Mudra you think would be beneficial for you guys, we'll put the name in the description. But as always, we'll wrap up there, and I'll see you guys next month. All right, bye.